And it looks like that we are officially live here. Tune in here from Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome to, as always, a very exciting and exclusive episode here from Transformation Greatness, along with SBN, the Small Business Network. I am your host here, Sean A. White, and we have a very special guest, as I mentioned, a power couple, if you will. You know, it's always a beautiful thing that when you're seeing couples in this space of being entrepreneurs and they're doing great and amazing things. And their mission statement, which I actually love, it's not just as far as with just making money, right? But it's way bigger than that. We're talking about generational wealth and really impacting the lives, if not millions of billions of people. But they also understand that it starts first by in their respective communities. And so this is going to be a great conversation to have, in which before I even introduce them, for all those that are tuning in, do us a favor, if you will. If you're catching this live here on Facebook, put in the hashtag live. Let us know where you're tuning in from. If you happen to catch this on a replay, go ahead and put in hashtag replay. So I'm gonna get past the peasantry to all that, who I am and what I do. If you want to find out more about that, just message me. But it's always about my guests, in which once again we have here the Watsons, actually the co-founders of MEA, which is my event advisor. But it's a whole lot more than that. So I'm allowed for these two amazing people to come on board and just basically share everything in which that they have going on. So with no further ado, please welcome Miss Joy and also Mr. Jay Watson to the show. Welcome, 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 and happy Saturday, by the way. Happy Saturday, by the way.
Happy Saturday, everyone.
Absolutely. They're they're very, very shy folks. So we gotta work with them. Okay, we gotta work with them, show them some love, smash those hearts, different things of that nature. But let's go ahead and jump in here very quickly here. So I know you guys are working on a lot of different things. So I guess then, ladies first, if you just want to introduce yourself, Mrs. Watson, just let the world know of who you are and a little bit about what you do, and then I'll pass it along to Mr. Watson, and we'll get into this bad boy.
Yes, thank you. So, yes, I'm Joy Watson. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I've been in the industry for over 10 years. And in that field, I've seen a lot of things. And one of the opportunities that I've seen is that we need more of a reach and intentionality in our industry. And that's how I got into tech. And that's how I met my wonderful husband, Jay Watson, in which we have co-founded many of platforms, and I'm going to allow him to actually take the lead on the platforms that we're going to discuss today.
Outstanding, outstanding. And thank you for that, Mrs. Watson. Brother Jay, talk to us who you are and tell us a little bit more about what you do, my brother.
Well, it's really simple. It shows I have no experience with lighting, so that's not my area of expertise. So I'm gonna stick to technology and not electrician or electrical. But I'm Chief Business Head Jay Watson, as my lovely wife just stated. I love life. I love God. I love what we do. I love helping people. I'm just madly in love with love.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, with that being said, and you guys can touch bases on that. So, MEA, also known as my event advisor, can you tell the listening audience where did that all spark, right? What was the inspiration behind it? If you can give them a little bit of a backstory, if you will. I think that's very, very important. So, anyone of
Oh,
you guys can
wow.
answer that.
Wow. My event advisor started at I think it was 1901 Pleasant Road, Lawrenceville, Virginia. That's where it started. Oh, that's the correctional institution for those that don't know. That's the address to the prison. So it's amazing how God can reach you at your lowest and give you vision for something that you had no idea that you would be doing. And technology was not a love for me. My love was clubbing And I know my wife is on, but he asked the question, so I'm speaking about past tense things, nothing present. But clubbing and women and making money and having nice cars and doing crazy things like that in my immature state of mind, God decided to impart a vision and said, "Be careful with this. I'm going to put this in your hands, and this is how you do it, and this is what you do with it." With no tech degree or tech knowledge at the time, he wanted me in technology. And when the research came about the Black community and technology and how afraid we were of technology or even owning things, it was amazing because they have this saying in prison, you can be whoever it is you want to be. And I tell people why I became exactly who I thought I was. And even though being back there talking this big talk, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna own a business, I'm gonna change the world. I'm gonna, man, that's foolish, that's stupid, that's ignorant talk. You need to go out and get you a job, man. Try to be as basic as you can be, pay your bills, pay your child support and your court fines. And I say, well, God gave me a vision for something that I have no experience in. So I have to go out talking to people. I have to go out listening and connecting with people who understand vision brings people together. And when they're together, they will not perish and we can have many communities. So my event advisor was given in a pit. And it was given at a time where I was conflicted, headed out into the world, whether or not to own a club again or hang with the same people. Those are the only two options I had in my eyes. But then this prophet guy came and said, God is going to bless you with the app and it's going to feed millions of people. And that was the moment. The answer to the question I've been asking since the day I was born was, what was my purpose? And my purpose is to feed people. But then it was more to it than that. It just wasn't knowledge itself out of books and, common sense and life experiences. It was, you need something that will generate revenue to put money in your pocket so you can feed people, build programs and homeless shelters and educate people and get them back on the road. So my event advisor in the original plan one, was written because God said feed 1 million people. And I said, I barely got $10 on my book. You talking about feeding 1 million people? I'm trying to get a soup for the night. This is an unrealistic plan. And it's funny because I say it now in a joking manner, but when you deal, excuse me, when God was dealing with me, it was a back and forth type of thing, right? Because I can't make sense of what you're saying. I am pretty intelligent. I taught myself the saxophone in about 2 weeks and then the trumpet and then so forth and so on. So I pretty much can teach myself anything. But you're telling me to learn algorithms and coding and all that in a matter that this is almost impossible, man. But what happened was he placed everyone around me before I left. And my event advisor, the first version, was on the Apple and Google Play Store when I left prison because people believe. And it's funny how that saying goes. I've been on all sides. I have seen the prison side. I've seen the homeless side. I've seen the poverty side. I've seen the abuse side. I've seen the living in a high middle class household with not a care in the world or a worry in the world. So God has allowed me to see all sides. And he said, I want you to put that into my event advisor. I want people to see all sides and not just the side with the vendor or the organizer or any of that. It's not about that. That's just the product or the service. It's about elevating those people and giving those people what they need so they can go out and feed more people and giving them what they need. And that's why technology is important because it connects us in a way that we've never been connected. I've never been to India and I'm in India every day. I've never been to Pakistan. I'm in Pakistan every day. Bangladesh, Nigeria. I'm in all these countries every day because that's where my teams are. So I see what he was doing in the process and I'm glad he did it his way. And that's why my event advisor exists because God did it his way.
Amazing, amazing, and well done as far as we explain the mission and the vision. Because I do believe that, and this is one of the things that I love to ask individuals, right? Because entrepreneurs, like that's pretty much like a buzzword. We all know it sounds good, it sounds sexy, it sounds great on the resume, but when you have a mission and a vision statement, what it does, it really ties it in all together. It really, really does. And so, Mrs. Watson, maybe you want to answer that question as well from your perspective.
Oh, well, I came on with my event advisor.
Ladies and gentlemen, give us a few seconds here. We're having a little technical difficulties here, so we're just waiting for Mrs. Watson to come back on. But what I want to go ahead and do is this. Well, it looks like that she's coming back on here. Awesome. Yep. It looked like. Yep. Here she go. Mrs. Watson. Mrs. Watson. Okay. So it looks like that Mrs. Watson has left the building. I'm pretty sure she's having a little technical difficulties as she's working on as far as to coming back on. I want to go back to you, Jay. And by the way, for all those that's tuning in, once again, welcome to another exclusive episode here of Transformation Greatness along with SBN, the Small Business Network. This is episode 519. So we're close to 520 episodes. And we have here the co-founders of MEA, also affectionately known as my event advisor here in Atlanta, Georgia. We have here Mrs. Joy and Jay Watson. And so it seems like we do have Joy back online. So if you want to go ahead and continue on what you were saying.
Yes, thank you. I was just stating that I came on the project of my event advisor a little later when I met my husband. It actually was probably about 2 weeks after I got home from rehab. I had a stroke back in 2023 and I was hospitalized. All the things, everything stopped. Had to learn how to walk again, talk again, and just regroup life. And I knew from that hospital bed, I just heard something say, "Take up your bed and walk." And honestly, I laughed because I was like, God, that's really petty because, I just had a stroke and I can't walk. But I knew exactly what scripture he was referring to. And it really just led me back to letting go of all the excuses and getting to the thing that matters. I've done a lot of things in my life, but I was definitely out of alignment. And so it was time for me to be okay with being seen and being heard. And so I had to position myself. So I got back to the Atlanta Tech Village and I ended up meeting him a few weeks later. And he was telling me about this platform and about this event. And it just all connected. Because in therapy, I had a passion of creating events and like healing trauma through the power of events. Because if trauma can start with an event, it can be healed through an event, right? And so I was really all about exposure and experiential therapy through the power of events. And that's how I got connected with Jay and my event advisor. And I love, love, love the platform as we really focus on the creators and business owners who want to scale, build, and grow their business through the power of events. And that's what that platform is about on the service level. And so you can meet your needs and the community needs all on the back end because the founders have a mission of creating lasting change.
Absolutely, 1,000%, 1,000%, and thank you for that as well. And such a powerful testimony from the both of you, right? Like that's just to me amazing, and it's very inspirational as well because it doesn't matter as far as on where you're at in life. You have individuals that may say, "Oh, I'm too young," or "I'm too old," right? Or "I don't have enough knowledge," or "I don't have this, I don't have that." Basically just hearing from both of you guys testimonies from where you're at to where you're at now is just proof that honestly speaking, if you're willing to answer the call, all things is possible, correct?
This is true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Excellent. So let's get a little bit more down the business here because the South of Madness summit is going to be arriving in our neck in the woods in the next few weeks. If one of you can will basically explain to the listener audience, what is the this Madness Summit? What is it about? Why should I even care? You would say to that what? Anyone you can answer.
Well, my wife is more experienced in that area than me, so she can break down why it matters to the entrepreneur, the um, housewife, house husband, single parent, person leading, only because that's her area of expertise on why you should be in the building. Actually, I can't answer that. If your cup is running empty, you come in and it'll overflow. That's the only. That's why you need to be there. If your cup is running empty, and that cup can be anything in your life, I don't care what it is, then you will want to be in the building of Stop the Madness. And Stop the Madness was founded, first it was called, it's funny because everything go back to that address I gave you. The first, it was called Model Madness, and we were going to do it in March, right? And this was in Virginia. It was called Model Madness. We're gonna do it in March. Gonna be all these models, and we was trying to find a way to make people serious about health. And we couldn't find a way to actually talk about it without some form of entertainment. And then we was like, when we got to Georgia, my brother was like, "Man, there's a lot of madness out here that need to be stopped." And I was like, "What? Say that again?" He's like, "There's a lot of madness out here that need to be stopped, Chief." I said, "Man, we're gonna stop the madness then. That's what we're gonna do." And we changed the name immediately from Model Madness to Stop the Madness, a movement geared towards health and wealth of Black community. But it's funny because there's so many parts, right? If I were to back this up. All right, so when vision came, there were so many things and so many problems in the world. I can name 50 million of them. I'm talking from we talk about homelessness every day. We talk about poverty. We talk about low income families. We talk about education, lack of education. We talk about children with disabilities, children who don't have the ability. We talk about single mothers, single fathers. We talk about kids losing parents. We're talking about a system right now that is trying to start a civil war amongst humans to not even love one another anymore. This was the ultimate reason for anyone is to love thy neighbors, I love thyself. So love has to come back into the picture. We can talk about the man on the corner who has gout or some form of a disease, or a mother sitting on the corner with her kids reading books. I've seen all this. And every morning I used to get up and drive through the city of Richmond and look so I won't forget, because it's easy to forget. I ride around looking so I won't forget. Listen, there's a vacant building and a homeless person. There's a vacant building and a sick lady. There's a vacant building. And I said, man, we got to help me get this right. And it started with an event. But listen, I love the movie. I love movies for one line or one song. I'll go to a movie just for that one line, that one song. But when I was watching the movie School of Rock, that little kid reminded the teacher that one hit performance could change the world. And my event advisor and Stop the Madness and the Watsons are the hit performance that will change the world. This is a lifetime event. This will never end. This is the only event where you have one ticket that lasts a lifetime. This is the only one, because we have to fix these issues, and we cannot fix them by solely focusing on building our businesses independently. If we continue, because that goes against the corporate system. The word corporate means body, many, multiple parts, working together with one common mission. So if you were to take all 10 of my fingers and make that 10 businesses, and you were to point them like this, it should point towards one mission in one direction. No matter what the differences are with these 10 people or these 10 businesses, the mission is the same and the goal is the same, and that's what we have to accomplish. So we want to highlight and Stop the Madness, because we're actually honestly thinking about moving it. We're thinking about moving it to March because we're not getting the responses that we want. And the responses that we want is that, okay, so listen to me. We have to build hospitals. We have to build insurance companies. We have to build things that we actually need in our communities. We have to go out here and fight for these 300,000 women that lost their jobs. We have to fight. Listen to me. I am a father of a number of kids. And as a man who was not involved in their lives due to being in the life of crime, when a problem came, my way of solving it was crime. Okay. Now, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I do know there's a lot of problems outside this tech village right now, which means there's a huge spike in crime about to happen because people are afraid. People are broken. People have no way of coping with what's happening. You mean to tell me I did everything right and I still got it wrong? I did everything. Hold up, wait a minute. Lil Baby, Jay-Z, Dame Dash, I can name you all the drug dealers that did everything wrong, got all the millions of dollars. They didn't go to school and get no degrees like these women and men did. They didn't sit in classrooms for 12, 15 years. They sat in prison cells, jail cells, and institutions and end up becoming millionaires. So these are the dynamics that we have to highlight and show people that, listen, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. I assure you, we need to rise up right now like we did with 9/11. We need to rise up right now like we did when there was a sniper. We need to rise up right now like we did when there was COVID. We need to rise up right now like every other time that we had. And we can still stop the madness. Even if we change to stop the madness date, we still can work to stop the madness all the way up until that date and then execute the plan because we are here and we have a lot of life left. And if we keep playing around and not coming together as one, life is going to take us out of life because they're closing the schools. They're stopping tuition for kids. They're putting Black mothers and Black fathers in positions that we don't really deserve to be in. It's almost like going back in time into slavery. And I know I'm not the only one that sees this. And I know my wife probably hears this more than me when she's talking to people 24/7 because that's her job. But the ultimate reason why Stop the Madness exists is because it has to execute the system to touch every problem we have. And we have to do it one at a time. The trickery is I'm gonna mind my own business. That's true. You're supposed to do that, right? But now, when you obey the law trumps everything. It says that a corporation is a body of people. It is an entity separate from its owners. Right? It has a way of doing things. So you're fighting against entities that are separate from you. See, you thinking that you're fighting against people, and that's why it says we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against, see, you have to understand that even though a corporation doesn't have breath, the person behind it is just as dangerous as with the corporation that they are when you put money in their hand. Because money has no power of its own. It has no spirit. It has no thought. It has no breath. The moment it gets in a person's hands, that determines the heart of the individual, and it makes that money do what it needs to get done, whether that's positive or negative. We're up against institutions that have billions of dollars. Sure, we can boycott for 30 days. It solves no problem. All you did was allocate your money to another individual, right? And because we don't have a lot of everything, there are 1.7 million millionaires of the Black community in the United States. 1.7 million. All right? And you know what they classify that as? They classify that a millionaire is a person who has the assets equivalent to $1 million. Not $1 million in their bank account. The
Correct.
assets equivalent to $1 million. A house, a car, and a gold watch can be $1 million, and you can still be struggling. But according to the data, this is who you are. This is how you're labeled. We want to make investors for our communities. When you pour into My Event Advisor, or you pour into Stop the Madness, or you pour into Zipline, understand the people who are on the front line that you're pouring into. We are the head of a system that we need, not one that we're thinking about. My wife and I get up every day, watch the videos. I see people watching videos get thousands of views of people eating sandwiches and McDonald's cheeseburgers all the time.
Yep.
So I decided to turn on the camera when I'm just sitting there doing business paperwork and people messaging like there's no sound. And I start going like this with the paper in my pen. Just to let you know that the frame is not still, just so you can hear the sound, because that's what you be watching anyway, wasting time. But we don't have the time to waste. Trust me, I know about time. My time was in a little space at one point that was about 8 by 12, I think, or 8 by 16, with 2 people, and everything that was in a household was in that space. Sink, toilet, table, bed, all in one space. And the thing about it is, when God really want to deal with somebody, you're sitting there, you get mad, and you're only upset because you have time to think about everything you've done. You're only upset because you have time to deal with yourself.
Mm.
So when we look at Stop the Madness, my event advisor, Zipline, and what our plan is to sit people down and have a real conversation. We don't want to have a fast conversation with you. We don't want to give you the Invest Fest, even though it was beautiful. We don't want to give you that hit. We don't want to give you the quick 20-minute Atlanta Tech. We just drop something on you, then you got to come back. No, because the follow-up doesn't work right. We want to
Mm-hmm.
sit you down and say, okay, what is the problem? We need better schools. We need more. Okay, who you talking to? What do you mean, who am I talking to? Who are you talking to? Who are you saying that you need these better things to? Um, I believe the government. Why are you talking to them? They ain't talking to you. Why are you talking to them? Well, because how else are we going to do it? We build the system. It's that simple. We build the system. And this is the reason why Black America will not get the system right. This is the one reason. If we continue to have more faith in money than we have in God Himself.
Mm-hmm.
See, I've been watching the Post. The Post say, I don't care who in the White House, I trust Jesus. And Jesus still said, faith without works is dead. So I don't care how much trust you got. If you ain't doing nothing, you be sitting there waiting for a rapture or something to happen. You ain't even participating in solving the problem. You sitting back trying to put it all on God. Listen, I'm sorry to tell you, and I know a lot of people get mad, and I really don't care. You need to be in your feelings, and you can book my wife later. We start at $150 an hour. There's no problem. But look, let me tell you this. Let me just get with you real quick, right? Because the problem really is that we are the problem. We don't want to solve nothing. We keep putting everything on God. God wouldn't place more on me than I can bear. What? Why you ain't moving there? Get to work. Get to work. You go to work for everybody else. It's amazing how, if you were to put Jesus in the room, and this is me just being 100% honest, you put Jesus in the room and you put your employer in the room and you say, come work for whichever one. Jesus said, I'm not going to give you any money, but what I will give you is something that gives you life and life more abundantly. You're not going that way. You're going away with a $10 an hour is because that's what makes sense. That's what's going to pay your bills. See, He can give you life and give it more abundantly, but when that abundance comes with pain, trauma, turmoil, my wife had a stroke, had to take care of kids and do. See, when what's on the other side, is more expensive than what I'm seeing right now, sometimes I don't want it. And entrepreneurs, I love entrepreneurs, but where are the risk takers? We got to start building. And forgive me for getting this passionate about this, man, but when you learn that you've been living wrong for 27 years, and then you wake up one morning and you say, okay, what is this about? It's about the 3 most important days of your life. The day you were born, the day you find out why, and the day you meet your mate. I've hit all 3 of those days already. I was born, I found my why, and my beautiful mate is on the other end of this. She's a few feet away, but she sings so far, I wish I could touch. She's right there, though. She's right there, though. But what I'm saying is, and it's people doing stuff, man, and sometimes we do things because we're upset, and we have no direction. And we're doing things because we want to do things and we still have no direction. And that's where, I'm not a therapist or nothing, but that's where I used to get burned out at. So I know somebody else get there. You keep hitting the same wall because you just want to do something to make a difference, but what you're doing is only making you tired. And if you're the only one that want to make a difference and you burn yourself out to kill you, who will make a difference for you? If you're the only one that want to make the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Stop the Madness is bigger than that, man. It's we some beautiful people. We're a beautiful nation. We are a beautiful nation. If we were to really take 5 minutes and sit down and say, okay, what is it that we need right now at this moment to accomplish the goal for our culture? Not individually, because economically speaking, when you look at how an economy functions, it's an input and output system that moves around distribution, consumption, and productivity, right? And the funny part about it is we can be consumers and consider ourselves being productive because we have income. Income don't make you productive, okay? Because productivity is defined in economics terms by how much can you produce in an hour. That's productivity, and that's why you get paid by the hour. Employers, they will fire you if you do 30 minutes of work and I'm paying you for the hour. Why can I not pay you for the 30 minutes? Because that's not how it goes. My millions are made as a corporation off of how much time you put into that hour. And I'm paying you $20 for that 1 hour to make me 20 million. And that's what I need you to do. Now, consumers are people who just go out and just buy up stuff. And I know we have needs, but your consuming should be less than what you are actually producing, right? Now, in money terms, that's for every dollar you spend, you should be making $5+. That's the way that works, right? Now, in order for the Black system to actually build a sustainable economy, we have to back up to what controls an economy, and that's not products and services first. That's the money system. We got to get the right definition of finance and money. The moment we have those two, because we got the wrong meaning of it, we think money is meant to be held on. This is one of Jesus' lessons. He told the people with the talents, he gave them their things, what they needed, and one buried one did something and gave it, another one multiplied it, right? If I'm paraphrasing the story, forgive me, I'll read it tomorrow and come back on next week with Mr. Sean and make the correction, and that's just what, but you know where I'm at. I'm somewhere in them 66 books. Now, the thing about it is, if I hold on to it, it does me no justice. Now, do we really hold on to it, Mr. Sean? Or are we waiting for something to pay to get rid of it? Now, think about it. When I make money, it immediately goes out to my bills to keep me where I'm at. That is not what it's meant to do. Money is meant to move an entity forward. And by us being humans, it is meant to move us forward to progress. And the only reason I stayed ignorant for so long and I stayed stuck for so long is because I wasn't moving the thing that moved me forward. I wasn't putting it in the direction I was headed. And that's why we're trying to get people excited about Zipline. And they're like, okay, what is Zipline? What are you talking about? It's a Black-owned social media. And I'll say, okay, so how many times a day, Mr. Sean, do you make a post on Facebook?
How many times?
Yeah, how many times?
I would say about one, the max two, based upon my schedule and everything else in which I'm doing. So I would say
Now,
one, two, the most.
How many times do you go like some on Facebook a day?
Oh, frequently. Like, yeah, I lost count because I have like a system and a strategy to it though. So I can't pinpoint exactly how many, but yeah, I do that on a frequent basis.
Okay, so if you do that, my wife does that, and I do that, okay, and all of us like 10 posts a day, we make 3 posts a day. How much money has Mark Zuckerberg and the hundreds of millions of investors that poured into his business are now making off of us, because that earns other people money, right? So we spend our time, because they say you reap where you sow. So if you're sowing your time in the Facebook, well, that's not even true, because a whole lot of people be up there and made $1. But anyway, it's you reap where you sow, right? But now let's talk about the back end of that. If you saw in 2006, 7, and 8, when Facebook first formed, that it would be what it is today, would you have invested in it?
Absolutely.
Okay, what about TikTok?
The same.
What about Apple?
About who?
What about Apple?
Oh, absolutely.
What about Google?
Absolutely. 1,000%.
What about Roku or Cisco or Kellogg's? What about these companies?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, the only reason I ask you that is because everyone else is thinking the same exact thing. And here we are with the Black platform. I'm just going to ask you, how many opportunities do you have to miss to build up our community, to build up your wealth, to build up our school? If you saw in 2006, 7, and 8, looking back in retrospect, that if I had the opportunity to put this $20 here, that it would turn into later, 25, 30 years later, it would turn into, you telling me, $3,000 to $200,000. If I put in 1,000, it would turn into $200,000, $500,000. Then just looking back at it, and I believe that if we were to educate properly people on why it's important for you to pour into something, even if it's not my wife and I, pour into something so that you can do what needs to be done the correct way. Because I'm sorry to tell you this, but Walter Disney, that ain't number one of those. Steve Jobs, they ain't number one of those. Jeff Bezos, they ain't number one of those. And Zipline, it ain't number one of those. I assure you that the love and passion and compassion that my wife and I have for people, love, God, and everything else, that this is the move to make for our nation. And the reason I'm telling people that you want to pour into this right now on this podcast is because it's tied into my event advisor. And remember what God said about my event advisor. It's going to feed 1 million people. See, I didn't need to understand the entire vision because Zipline came second. All I needed to do was move on the first part of it, right? That's the faith part because it is the evidence of things unseen. What is it? Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. So I'm hoping for something. I can see a mental substance in my mind, right? But I'm not touching it physically yet, but I still got to move towards it. How many of us are going to miss the opportunity to build here in Atlanta, Georgia, and have world impact because we want to hold on? You understand what I'm saying, Mr. Sean?
Oh, I'm hearing you loud and clear. I'm also too just checking for everybody else that's actually in attendance or that came on. We have here Miss Jerry MC in the house. We have here Vicky Bateman. Welcome, welcome. And Vicky just made a great point too. And I would like for either one of you. Actually, I would like to hear from Mrs. Watson in regard for this. Vicky stated something very powerful. She said we need to bridge the gap between businesses and the communities in order for us to grow. Education is key, knowledge is power. Also, stop letting fear hold us back. That is very, very powerful. You touch bases on that very well, Jay. But Mrs. Watson, from a woman's point of view, what does that mean to you? And combined as far as what Brother Jay mentioned and also with Miss Vicky just pointed out as a
Yeah.
woman entrepreneur.
Well, I think when I actually hear the comment, hey, Miss Vicky, I think when I hear the comment, it just naturally makes me think about or the intention of like Stop the Madness itself. Honestly, the whole purpose of it was, yes, it's about actually stopping the madness, which is basically going in the cycles and acting like something finna change when it's not, waiting on somebody else to do something, right? But the actual event and experience itself is about bridging the gap between the connections, right? We have businesses and there's someone always solving a problem. And
Right.
so we want to bring the people in the room so they can hear, oh, wow, that's my problem. Here's the resource. A lot of the times, like we have events and they're one off events. They're just one off interactions. It's like, yeah, here's my business card, man, da 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 da, this and that. But there's no one actually connecting the resources with the people themselves, especially in a way that the people can actually understand what that resource is supposed to do for them based off of where they're standing. So I naturally thought about the actual intention of Stop the Madness movement itself. But absolutely, education is key. The thing about it is a lot of our people at this time, I don't want to get clinical, but there is something that's called cognitive distortions, which is basically distorted thoughts, right? And so whenever you hear something, it filters through a certain mindset. So if somebody's facing something, you might hear, well, it is what it is. And you're like, you just don't want to actually deal with it. That's why you're saying it like that, right? Or somebody be like, well, they always gonna do this. That's a distorted thought, and that's gonna keep you stuck. Those patterns and those thoughts of always filtering that thing, that's what's going to actually keep you stuck. And that's what you actually see even when you talk about bridging the gap, and especially the generational gap, is that there's always distorted thought processes of where, well, when I was growing up, it's supposed to go like this and it's supposed to do this. And so everybody trying to be heard and ain't nobody listening. So
Mhm.
that's a huge part of the problem. And so it's not just about you have to have an ear to hear. So we can throw all the education out there, and there's a lot of good education that's free, but you have to have a heart that's willing to actually want to hear and learn. And so many people have turned a deaf ear, but we're not talking to them. We're talking, and we're going to speak to those who actually are saying, I need something. And they want to tune in to something that's consistent and something that's going to break whatever curse or whatever distortion that they have. They're going to hear and they're going to heed and they're going to move on. That's who we talking to. So yes, there are a lot of people that have a deaf ear, and a part of that is social media when you're zoning out. But when you're coming to platforms for the resources, for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to connect, then absolutely you can receive the knowledge that you need and definitely move forward from there.
Yeah, 1,000%. And thank you for your clarification on that regard. And I definitely do appreciate that. And that's why when me and Jay speak, and I see that he's definitely a visionary, he has something in which is very unique, and it actually goes beyond of just a regular networking event. Because just like you mentioned, a lot of them, which is very very true, they are pretty much just one-offs. You come there, you have a great time, you pass along your business cards, and then that's it, right? The show's over with. But in terms of really making that solid connection to making it to where people gonna want to come back again and again and again because they see that it is definitely worth the value. It's almost like, in my definition, it's more like you're going over and beyond, really providing that customer's experience. I don't know as far as if that makes sense, or maybe I'm not wording it correctly, but this is something in which that truly not only can it reach those here as far as in Atlanta, but also worldwide as well. I want to ask the both of you this because I think that, Jay, you touched on it earlier. You spoke a lot about the mindsets of people, right? And you gave examples on how, like in the beginning, if you knew where Amazon or Facebook or these other social media platforms were in the beginning, you would have invested into that. And so I want to ask you this, right? Because mindset is so important, and people know this consciously, but yet subconsciously, when you ask for a commitment, right? Or better yet, forget about money. Let's even throw that out the window, right? When you're even asking for people just to even share, right? Just to do the bare minimum of even sharing the mission and the vision, there's a lot of resistance on that. My question to you, Jay, is that how can you and your organization pretty much bypass that or bust through that, right? In order to really leave that impact, if you will, if that makes sense.
Well, excuse me, it's pretty tricky, but I have to go back about 2 minutes. When I was a kid, my mom, right, love her dearly. Um, she used to take me and my brother to the store every time we got some money. If somebody gave us $1, one of the boys, out there doing their thing, they give us $1, my mom would be like, come on, let's go to the store and buy you something. And weeks later, she'd do the same thing. Come on, let's go to the store and buy you something. And then eventually, every time I get money, guess what I do? I probably still do it to this day a little bit. I run to the store and I buy something, whether it's $1 or 50 cents, right? I believe we're taught and we have different belief systems around money. I had to teach myself what money was. And then a man came and actually showed me how to use it and gave me the difference between money and finance, right? Then he broke down the difference between meeting a need and then meeting needs. Now, one is direct and one is indirect, right? And most of the people we talk to, one of the reasons I believe there's resistance there is because they can't see it. Now, when I owned a club, you'd be very surprised how many guys came in there with big money and threw money at them strippers. That's what they saw.
Mhm.
right? That was realistic, right? Some people have to take time, whether that's to get to know a person. Um, People don't like losing, no matter whether they say it out loud or not. Is it too big? Is it? And it's funny because there was one of my foster moms that said something negative to me when I got home. And I told her, I said, it's amazing how people will talk about God until he show up. See, the thing that you pray for or the thing that you want until it shows up, you don't really want it. It sounds good. See, I want change. I want community reform. I want better educational system. I want better tools to use for people who are transitioning from homelessness, prisons, being sick, or whatever the case may be. We want those things, but are we willing to build those things? And we don't even realize sometimes that that power is right in our hands. Now, I can't tell you why most people will not want to invest in something like Zipline or My Event Advisor, but I can tell you that most people are fighting for the same dollar. We're more against one another than we are for someone building something because we don't want to be left behind. What if you forget me? Why would I get? Matter of fact, somebody said that to me in 2023 when I got to the tech village. It was a young guy I met right outside here walking over there to get a pizza, and we just started talking because he was in the inside. And we decided to walk out at the same time. And he said, man, why would I give you any money for your business? I'm trying to build my business. And I said, how far along are you? He said, well, I'm just getting started. I said, well, let me tell you how much it costs to learn. It costs $250,000 to learn. That's how much we've spent to learn because mistakes have cost to it. They're called opportunity costs. You don't know if you hired the right person. You don't know if you got the right code yet. You don't know if your product is what the market wants. You can put every dime a dollar into what you believe it is for the people. But as my advisor taught me, he said, unless you can be your number one customer, I advise you to start making what the people want, unless you can buy it all, right? And all I can say for people right now is if there's something you want to do, whether that's for my event advisor or Zipline to build these great products so we can build great schools and come together, just do what you can at the area where you feel comfortable, right? Don't do what other people like and ask questions. Like my wife and I are open, like we want people to invest to get on the inside of the process. I love having meetings. I will explain everything to you about corporate America over time, of course. Set up your will, your trust, and your estate plan over time, of course. Help guide you and your family, because that's what we're supposed to do as people are part of the same body. Whether no matter what your religious belief is, we're all human beings. So we move past people, we ask, and we put it out there. And if they don't want to do it, we just keep going because everyone has to do what they have to do in their time. There's some investments I had, Mr. Sean. I lie to you not. I think about them every day, man. I've had some opportunities when I was young and dumb and stupid, but girls were more important to me. That's where I put my money at. Now you look at all of them, they married and going on, got 10 kids or living their life somewhere in Africa somewhere doing something. And I'm sitting here like, dang, wow, that was not a waste of time, but that was time that I wasted when I could have been doing something else, but I didn't know. So that's my last point, that some people just don't know. It's right there before them and they just don't know how to approach it. They want to because they see that it is a need. People are smart, man. People are not dumb. They are
Correct.
really smart. They're really smart. We learn as a baby that are certain things not to do. You ready to push the cup on the floor, you look back and you know it's wrong. You just look like, I'm gonna see if I can get away with it. Yeah, I won't do that no more. But you already knew not to do it. You just wanted to try to get away with it.
Of
But
course.
that's just, I want to say Michael Jackson, man. It's just human nature. And we got to work with them. And we have to do what my wife used to tell me every morning is we have to have compassion for them and love for them and just understand where they are. That's ultimately it. We understand where they are. And it's not going to make a difference. Actually, I just lied. It will make a difference if you try to invest in My Event Advisor or Zipline 5 months or 10 months from now with a valuation, put it at $1 million. Now it costs you $10,000 to get in. But again, that's that word that I love in economics, opportunity cost. It costs something for opportunity. When I first met my wife, listen to me. I was on my way to a meeting right out here. I saw this woman standing in the middle of the floor, and I turned around. I said, "Lord have mercy." Went in there, and I approached her, and I was like, "Man, why you in here making all that noise with that marker, right?" And the only reason I did that was because I was afraid of rejection or what she was gonna say to me, right, to
Mm,
let me down. So when people have great ideas, and you can see looking right here, y'all don't look too hard. That's a great idea I got over there. But I'm just saying that it's beyond. You have to see beyond. But I listened because I had my pastor on the phone. We was about to do a meeting, and I just went on ahead and say he already knew. And I told her, I said, "You're gonna be my wife." I got 21 no's before I got a yes. I
mm,
said, "You're gonna be my wife." And she like, you know how most dudes do that. She think it's game. But I sound like those who spit the game.
mm,
You see what I'm saying? But I mean business with mine. You gonna be my wife because the day before, she don't know I had an encounter with God on my knees. I was tired. I was tired of finding women that didn't want to do nothing, want to talk about the club, drink and shake their booties all the time and do all that crap. I ain't got time for that. I'm a man on a mission. I'm looking for my help meet so I can get what God say. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor. I need favor. I don't need flavors. I need favor. And when I saw, I said, that's the favor right there. And
mm.
I took her on over here to Twin Peaks, and I spent the best $23.17 I had because I was an entrepreneur on a mission. You see what I'm saying? We
Right.
sat there, we ate a burger. I ain't even have enough to get me a burger. I made sure she had one though. Then I called my mom and I said, "Mom, I found her." So I say that story to say that when you have your eyes set on something, whether that's a negative or a positive, you form the image you want to see before you walk into it. So if you see a better future with making investments in people, you're going to always give to people. If you see the worst thing in people before you even meet them, having preconceived notions, then that's what the results you're going to get. But what I do know is this, that my God doesn't fail. I have been born to a mother on crack. I am not addicted to drugs, never used it, right? Met my father after being in foster care and group homes for about 7 years. Been molested, been juvenile, been to prison. I'd have been put down. I'd have been put out. I done had people tell me you're gonna die before you 31. I'm 37. Praise God for that. I'd have made it past that age. I done beat that. They told me you're gonna be back in prison in 12 months. I've been home 3.5 years. Another clap for that. So I done beat all those odds. But you gonna end up with some girl that's strung out on drugs and she gonna be a prostitute. Well, look at my wife. She ain't prostitute, none. She ain't strung out on drugs, and she fine as hell know what. But y'all don't look too much. But look, what I'm saying is, I know He got us. God has been waiting for people to have each other. He always had us. He always had us. He's been waiting on us to have each other.
Amen. And on that note, we are about to wrap things up here. We've been on here for about 53 minutes. And I tell you, this has been great, great value. I remember the first time that we came on, Brother Jay, we gave out great value. But now, since we have the Watsons on, I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. And pretty much this was what I expected for the podcast to go. I just been seeing here as far as for all the comments, you two are definitely on a mission to say the least. Yeah,
Mhm.
people are definitely loving as far as this particular podcast. So now, with that being said, before we wrap things up, how can others get a hold of you? What is next?
Oh, well, you can just text me or call me at 678-672-8030. And you can reach my wife by calling me on the same, her on the same line. So she's not giving out no numbers or nothing like that. Won't nobody be reaching out to Mrs. White.
No, I think that as far as if you can share your social media handles, are you available on Facebook,
Yes,
Instagram,
yes.
LinkedIn?
Everything Javon Watson across the board. Just everything is Javon Watson. And if you see Chief Business there, that's me as well. Um, Wife, you want to give your information?
I can be found at Let's Talk Joy Instagram and at Let's Talk Joy Joy on Facebook.
Excellent, excellent. And yeah, definitely. I just want to just shout out to everybody as far as in the listening audience. So we have here Jerry MC, one of our partners here with SBN, a Small Business Network. She has definitely been loving this segment. We had got the commissioner in the house, Commissioner Dr. James. He has said, awesome, awesome. He says, definitely thank you for being a part of Transformation Greatness and SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. This is episode 520. Let's see here. I'm just going by. I just want to thank here Miss Vicky Bateman. She has definitely been very active. I would say the least. It was also another gentleman. I believe his name was Justice, but he has left the building. So I appreciate your guys' time. And I want to say this, or ask you guys this. Any final words you would like to leave for the listening audience?
Wife?
Oh, just keep going. Like, honestly, it's just a word of encouragement. I know it's a lot of noise and things like that out, but there's always something working in the background. So just keep going, keep moving forward. All things will work for the good.
Absolutely. Oh, also, this is something too. If even one of you can put this in the comments, can you put in for the Stop the Madness Summit on that website, and also for my event advisor as well, just in case if others want to just take a look and see as far as what you guys have going on. I think that'd be great. So if one of you two can put that in the comment section, that would be great.
You got it, wife? Thank you.
All
So I
right.
want to tell people, at your lowest, always look up, man. If you look at the sky, I promise you, you'll see some beautiful things. Your mind will be clear. Just, just, just look up. That's what I do. Anytime things get bad, I don't go back and I be like, and that takes me back to nature because I have to look at something clear because sometimes I look across the street, I see the homeless man right here outside the tech village. I see the guy that's sleeping right here at this corner, but I also see a Maybach Benz about to ride past him. So sometimes I'll get mad at stuff like that. So I'll just look up and be like, all right, God, this is it. This your world, this your earth. Let's do it. And I'll get right back to work because sometimes I have to have tunnel vision and be blind to the
That's good.
issues because sometimes the issues are a distraction. I'm coming back though. I'm not gonna forget that guy I saw right now. I promise you I'm not. I'm not gonna forget him because I was once him. So I'm not gonna forget him. But I also know that I gotta keep going right now because if I give you what I got in my pocket, I can't accomplish the mission. And the most important thing right now is accomplishing the mission so I can put together what you need. And with that, that's peace, love, and blessings from Chief Business Ed Jay Watson and my lovely wife, Joelina Roberts Watson.
On that note, guys, hey, we appreciate you all. If you catch this on the replay, if you're watching this later on down the line, by all means, do me a huge favor. Just put as far as in the comments on what you got out of this, if there are any insights, any aha moments. Also, as well in the comments, it should be as far as for the websites for both my event advisor as well as also for the Stop the Madness Summit if you want to know more information. Or if so, if you don't see that but you're still interested, you can get in contact with myself as well. I'll be more than happy to go ahead and provide you with those details, or you can get in contact as far as with the co-founders themselves, because they'll be more than able as far as to assist you and answer any questions and which that you have and getting you plugged away. So until then, family, that's all the time that we got. I want to thank my very special guests here for being on the podcast. I truly appreciate it. And guys, this concludes another episode here from Transformation Greatness, along with SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. This is episode 520. And want to end this segment like I do all my others. And if what we stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, then may God be the glory, and we take no credit for absolutely none of it. Until then, you're all amazing. We thank you so much for your time. By His grace and mercy, look forward to seeing you all on the next episode, which is going to be later on with one of our partners here, Miss Elaine King. So stay tuned for that. Bye for now, everyone.
All right.